Great Heat Allocated has served 5 real-data clients with a total approved data cap of 25 PIB. This includes one public dataset and the four enterprise datasets from industry like online education, IT, and consulting. Look ahead to 2025. We plan to add 5 to 8 more clients, contributing an additional 50 to 70 PIB of data cap to the community. Of course, Welfare Plus is an innovative attempt to commercialize real data in Filecoin. There are still some areas for improvement. For example, the successful rate of Spark retrieval isn't fully compatible with the DDO ordering model, and customers often lack channels to find reputable allocators. We hope these aspects can be further refined so Fair Plus can serve data clients more efficiently. Becoming an allocator is a voluntary public service, but it is also a great opportunity to learn more about Filecoin. To run a successful allocator, it is important to study the Fair Plus documents, research the workflow of existing allocators, and increase cooperation. This will help new allocators in their future work. Finally, we sincerely hope that the Filecoin ecosystem will continue to prosper and welcome more partners to join the Filecoin course. If you have any questions or cooperation intention, please feel free to contact me by email. We also welcome clients with real storage needs to apply for data cap from our allocator. At last, thank you all for your listening, and I wish you a wonderful time in Thailand. Thank you. Bye bye.
Alan, you secret movie star, that was beautiful. So one of the things we wanted to highlight in this talk was success. And I thought you did a really good job of talking about one of the 4 points that you're doing really well at Greater Heat. Number 1 was focusing on retrievability. You made that one of your key milestones, is that the data was pullable in Spark and retrievable. 2, you talked about your bookkeeping plan. There was a clear conversation between you as the allocator and your clients that were coming to you, and that's all public record for not just the governance team, the community, but for everybody to see. 3, you talked about your storage providers. It was spelled out in your application that you filed back in October and was ratified in March, that there would be a clear number of SPs in the regions that they operated on. And when we're looking at these data refreshes, as we're looking at these new allocators coming onto the program, what you're outlining is a very clear and methodical plan for how your business will run. And what you spelled out in your video and what we see in your data applications really reinforces that. So when you look at a successful model for an allocator, you're performing your business with very clear guidelines, the same you would take to a board, the same you would make public, what you're going to accomplish, and then you stick to those standards. And for any pathways that don't maintain those standards, that don't withhold the guidelines, that's when we see that delay in that data cap refresh. That's when we see that conversation that maybe that allocator should have that data cap rescinded. That's when we come back to these new pathways that are applying to the program. So again, Alan, thank you for your time. Thank you for Greater Heat participating. And what I'm hoping to do is we have a few other videos, rather than playing them, hopefully with this 12 minutes that we have, maybe it could be a conversation for anything we want to ask any other allocators that we have in the room. We have Origin, ND Labs, D-Store, Phil. We have many great players here. Anything that we'd like to discuss before we move on to that?
Yeah, thank you. And this is Eric from the D-Stores. Actually, we are to be the allocator since the notary size from the notary V2 until the allocator phase. So my question, I think, belongs to all of us from the allocator side. Say, right now the procedure time is too long for us for waiting for the government's team to review the result and then send the request to the rookie holder. Then they starting to allocate the data cap. So as an allocator, we are all active the allocator in the Greater China region. We are trying to help a lot of SP to onboarding a lot of data or sealing the Filecoin into the network to make the network safe. So is there any smooth way to make the progress faster, or smooth way or transparency we can see which situation we are and how many days we need to waiting for the data cap? So that's all we need for the question here. Thank you.
Yeah, a smooth way to make the progress faster and understand like where an allocator is in the compliance review lifecycle. We've been making incremental changes to the way that we've been labeling. We've been working on additional tracking so that we can see where the slowdown is happening the most. And then we are adding capacity in the form of adding headcount so that we can handle these faster. We are also continuing to work, it has taken us a while, we're continuing to work on changes to the meta allocator structure with the goal being, let's set up a different kind of structure to the tree to say, let's have this thing that is a smart contract meta allocator and then have allocators that are similar to one another be under that. And the goal there is, instead of needing to kind of do a compliance review of each allocator and then have that go to root key holders and have chain interactions with the root key holders leading to more data cap, could we create a meta allocator that could have a larger set of root key holder data cap given to it, and then some rules for how people underneath interact with it? Could that also speed things up? And so that's in progress and in development. And then from there, a next iteration could be, great, if there's a pathway that is specialized and has more quantitative targets and says like, our pathway, the way that we are going to onboard data, it's going to be retrieval against this tool to this amount with SPs, IDs in this region with this amount of paid deals attached to it. If you could make all of those quanta, then you could say, great, we can now write a bot that looks at a threshold and says, on all of these metrics, we have a threshold of tolerance that we're comfortable with, and then that pathway could just be on an automated refill where it could say, yeah, here's our 100 interactions that we've made, all of the numbers, because it isn't about, well, go verify there's an email address, go verify you asked the question. All of those things become just metric based. And so if the metrics are working, then continue to have data cap, and then we don't have to keep doing human in the loop compliance review process. But in the near term, the biggest thing has just been, we've been trying to label the issues more accurately and more quickly to say when it's waiting for an allocator for a comment back, we have labels for that. When it's waiting for the governance team, when it's waiting for root key holders. So we've been trying to use labels in the short term to have more insight and transparency.
But what I say is, during the notary time, every notary got a dashboard. Say it's like how many times you get a reply to your clients and how many questions you answered for the client. So can we have another dashboard whether can monitor the government's team or even the rookie holder, how many times they give us the data cap, how many times they give the feedback of the answer, because this is a whole loop. If we serve for our client who is trying to onboarding the data into the network, so that is every part should be monitored, and also every part should be transparency to show. And also this is the most important client experience, right? So as a client, if they would like to store, for example, like 1 petabyte data into the network, but my answer is, I don't know how many days you need to wait until I get a data cap, then I allocate it to your address, then you start onboarding the data. I think it's unacceptable for those clients who there is a very bad user experience. So my suggestion is build a very full loop of the dashboard to monitor every step and how many days we need to wait. Also, I can give a very clear answer to my client. Say, okay, there is 1 more week you need to wait. Please prepare your data. Please prepare all the server storage clusters, and then ship it to the SPs. Then they will help you to onboarding all the data. So there is because time is money, right? So every step we need to ask the SPs or the clients to make the preparation. Then once everything is getting ready, start onboarding. That will make sense. Also, this is a very good user experience for the clients. Even they get the good experience, then they can exporting to their circle. Say, okay, I use Filecoin, it's good. I think I recommend you to use our product, and you can try Filecoin. That is a good sample to establish in the community or even the business world. They can show us. And also Filecoin can make success, I think. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. I agree. I encourage you also, if you want to build a version of that dashboard, like I was saying, we have those labels are available. The on-chain timestamp is available from when root key holders send their first proposal to when the second signature lands. Anyone could go do that time to data cap calculation and build that, and that would be great to see. I would love to see it.
I just have a question, I guess. Like when people have data, when people get data cap, don't you have a little bit of a buffer that you can basically that you then build reputation, you build a buffer, you use that buffer, and then if you can prove in retrospect that what you did was right, then you get a new buffer. And so I'm not sure if this is how real this is. That would be your first question. And the second thing is, we're also an allocator, and I keep reach out from people who want to buy my data cap, which is not for sale. And I keep saying that, but I feel like there's something odd about discovery, because it's very clear what the requirements are to get data cap under our allocator regime. So I wonder if there's a way to somehow make this discovery easier, because right now, even for me, right, because I'm I don't want to be an allocator, I don't care, I'd rather have somebody else do the work for me, right, and apply if I meet their requirements. But it's not super easy for me to discover, or for clients, right, or helping clients discover where they could get it. So yeah, those are my two thoughts here: buffer, and then the.
Yeah, as far as the buffer goes, we gave amounts of data cap to allocators, and then the goal is that as they get to, they've given out 75% of it, that gives us enough information to go do a compliance check, but also to Eric's point, sometimes, that process has taken too long and they have run out. Weeks. Mm-hmm. But we've gotten it tighter and tighter.
How do we make it easier for you guys to just be oh, looks good? Because I
Yeah.
assume there's some staffing, but there's probably also being able to parse through information quickly. If I send you, it should be easy. It should be oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's sort of the hurdle is the more often we do this, the more we learn from them, the more allocators also learn. If I preemptively collate this information, show you this report, justify this, tell you this interaction happened and here's what and why, that's going to make it go a lot faster than if we have to go do all the digging. And we've been saying that back and forth, but it is a learning process. But then to your other point around discovery, yes, we have stood up a new landing page to try and do more matchmaking, client matchmaking, and that is the thing that our Yuxa team has helped us make, and we've been wanting to make that better. And again, it's a back and forth process where we're okay, let's go ask all the allocators to give us a 2-sentence blurb about their pathway so we can put it on our website, so then we can try and direct clients to it, so then we can have discovery. So we are making...
How many allocators are there, and how many allocator pathways exist that are truly different and distinct? Or is it
It's hard to answer.
60 are basically doing the same thing?
There's 84 that got approved. There's about 60 that are active. It's hard to say how many of them are quote unquote distinct. As far as ones that are not doing manual, there are fewer, and I would have to go double check the number. There's a pretty small percentage that are not doing a manual process. But then as far as the ones in that manual bucket, some of them say, I'm only going to work with private enterprise encrypted data that isn't retrievable. How many of them are only doing that? How many of them are saying, well, I'm only going to work with public open data, but it only needs to be in 2 locations. So there was like 60 different questions on the application. Some of those questions are quantitative, and so you're like, okay, is it unique and distinct if one person said 3 copies and another person said 4 copies? Is that like different enough? But to your point, there's about 60 active teams. Yes. We're back.
I think part of what's going on is that there is a very large mismatch between how the program is currently running and what the program thinks is viable in a certain time frame relative to what the network expects out of lots of companies, lots of startups, lots of storage providers, and so on. And so there are other parts of the system, of the whole Falcon, like when you think across the entire Falcon network, there are many other components of the network that are structured differently to achieve faster outcomes with similar or lower levels of human effort. And so we need a fundamental shift in how we're approaching the process itself of how we build allocators, how we review them and improve them, and where a lot of the tension is that the current process is way too heavy on human time and therefore ends up currently very rate limited on back and forth conversations and discussion. And we are not getting to a point where there is a fast path to strong and high quality allocators deploying faster.
Yeah, now, here, so yeah, and obviously, yeah, the current process is is in efficiency, and must be improved. So I have some ideas here. One is that could we have some optimized, an optimistic way to do this? So what I mean is that have some allocators, so have some kind of larger quota for them, but we still have the audits, the governance to review and to something is like to let the allocators actually to satisfy the community needs. Okay, so the community can always get their data cups. So we could have some other mechanism to do something to, for example, to revoke the allocators or something like that, or even have some slashing mechanism. So anyway, we could improve this. This is one thing. Another thing is that we actually we're discussing about the automation, right? The whole thing. But it looks that we're still waiting for somebody to implement this. We have this kind of specification. But why? So we need to figure out why we require this for a long time, but nobody is working on this. So there's must some reason behind, right? So did we figure out why this happened? Nobody is working on it. Nobody is no enough people are passionate on this. There's so I don't know, but we need to figure out why.
I think that's a very good point. Carrie, do you want to go? I was going to Yeah, so was I.
You go ahead first.
Thank you for this, and I heard you mentioning all of those points at the APAC. So I think it's a very good point for now to start the macroeconomics discussion. I think that you gave us a really good start for it. So I think we'll hand it over to Danny to give a quick overview and run into a discussion building on the points that you mentioned and some of the other ideas we had. Thank you.